it feels so cold inside my heart tonight. Be my man is what she said. It's not just the wind that's moving around tonight, but quick and clean don't make it right.
Well, start of the day for Ant and I. We haven't been out, either of us, for a month.
Too long.
Yeah, it has been. I'm really looking forward to it. Between the weather, then Anthony, bloody party boy Kardashian.
That's it.
He's had a bloody busy social calendar.
Party.
So we're out again. We're at the head of a gully. It's a dirty, ugly gully, but I've got gold out of it before.
Lots of overburden.
And then on the other side, there's a much bigger gully. It was worked by Germans. We're going to have a quick go here. We're going to get in the big gully where there's two big dams. And then at the bottom of that gully is an interesting spot because it's where they lived when they worked the gully, and they were here for a fair while. So there's a couple of solid looking areas full of signals that we try and get some relics.
Snag a pipe.
Puddlers over there. Another spot down further where there was a Chinese area. The Chinese like to find alluvial gold where they worked the creek. So lots to do.
You've got any Chinese coins out of here? Out of this area?
I have.
Yeah?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I've got Chinese coins down further where I was talking. That's one of the reasons I found the coins, and then I researched it.
Yeah. And
it was one of the few areas that the Chinese actually stayed in the bush. The Chinese didn't like to stay in the bush. They'd get in a big camp and safety in numbers, which you can't blame them, you know, for various reasons. When you've come bloody across the world, you don't want to be isolated out in the bush. But they lived there for a short time, probably as many as 10 or 12. They used to work in big parties. Yeah. And that's how I've got the coin. So, righto, Ant, let's get into it, mate.
Let's do it, mate. Good luck.
Good luck, Ant.
Cheers, buddy.
We've made our first find for the day. We haven't found anything tangible that we can take home. We've found the chimney stones of the hut, and you'd walk past it a dozen times without noticing it. But the only reason I did happen to notice it is the amount of signals that are around it. And if you have a look here, take my detector off so it doesn't distract me. You can see the chimney stones here, a well-defined fireplace. If you have a look in here, I know it's hard to pick up sometimes, but that doesn't want to come.
Which one is it?
So have a look here. See, there's the firestone. There's the chimney surround. This is the area that was in the hut. So you forget when you're out detecting that this is actually it. This is what happened. They were out living in here. This is where they bloody lived and breathed. This is where they had their fire. Nice little hut running this way, working that gully. They've dug a dam at the head of the gully to flush the gully out, to sluice it. Around here is where they were living every day. Enough signals to say that I'll give it a 20-minute detector, try and fluke a relic. But as I said, you can easily
walk straight
walk past it.
There's so much overburden.
And not even notice it. Yeah, there's a relic of the goldfield find. And you sort of see, look at it uncovering now.
Yeah, you can see the shape of it a lot better now.
Yeah, you can see, you should be able to see it easy. So gather up the stones, make their fireplace, make their hut, bark to carry away the smoke. Hard bloody lifestyle.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Righto, Ant, I'll try and see if I can hang a relic on this chimney. I just want to show you that to let you know that they were out here living on the goldfields in gold rush times.
Yep.
And we forget about our history. There's a water race running along there along the bank that they've dug. So the amount of work they did is staggering.
Up there.
Everywhere you look, you know, you'll step across the little races and you won't even notice them, but there's a lot of history here.
It sure is.
Let's see if we can pluck some now, Sam.
Yeah, let's do it.
Right, mate.
Good one.
Right, it's only 3 or 4 minutes after we had a look at that hut. I found a signal that I've been looking for. It's cutting down a little bit, but I'm pretty sure it's non-ferrous. I found one other thing of interest too. You were talking about how men lived and breathed here. And I found this bone. And you might say, oh yeah, but that's a cow bone. A fox might have carved it there, or anyone might have carved there. How do you know it's relevant to the hut? It's been butchered, it's been sawn across. So our prospectors have been in the town or the closest spot that they could buy meat. They've been going bad, they've had to buy soup bones. There's nothing left on it now, but you can see that it's been sawn off.
Yeah.
So in the 1850s, some poor bloke, not only is he living out here in the hut, but he's nollying on soup bones like that, which is about the standard when I was living by myself, which is about the standard that I maintained as well.
Oh, standard I still maintain.
Yeah, we're lucky to have
I
that.
love soup
Yeah.
bones.
But anyhow, we're lucky to be out. I've got a signal here. That's the only other relic that I've...
Is that a buckle?
It's been a harness buckle, I think, or so maybe even off a saddle, you know, when the tongue's gone out of it. Plenty of signals here, but I've been cherry picking them till I got one that I reckon was worth filming. Keep your eyes open out. Ed and I are bloody thrilled to be out together. As I said, we haven't been out together for age. I haven't been out at all. The bloody Queen was getting out more after she died more often than I was.
Yeah, it's been about a month, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Can't find.
What do you got?
It is not what I hoped it'd be. It's
Food tag.
no, I think it's a copper, like a harness rivet or something like that. Yeah, it's well, definitely copper or brass. I'd like it to be a seal or whatever, but it's just goes through like that, and then there's a little ring that goes over the top and holds the harness together. So, Ant,
Nope.
that's our artefacts.
Motherboard.
It just goes to show, as I said, that people were living here, and we're in gold rush territory.
Yep.
Righto, Matt. I
I'm
was
moving
hoping it
upwards.
might have been a coin, but never
right.
mind, it was something, and it
That's
was
it.
non-ferrous, so I called it. Which is why we like the double D, so that when we do find a hut or a chimney or something like that, we can change it up. There's lots of signals here, you know. So that one's obviously a big bit of steel. The danger is, if you don't dig them, and we're not going to dig them, who's to say that that's not a pistol blanket out there? But we just like to dig a couple of signals. If they're not of any great importance, we leave them here, and so it goes. Righto,
That's
Ant.
it. Good man.
Get rolling.
Let's go.
Got our first signal that we were going to film today.
Beautiful sound.
Sounds all right. It's in the back of this mudstone, which is always, see how that stands up, that's always a good trap. If you run your camera around, Ant, you can see where they've been working this area and throwing the stones out. This is where the water's been. And one part I like about this is they've came down in the gully, but it's widened out here. They've gone a lot wider in the gully than they have. They've stayed in the bottom of the gully, but here they've gone right up on the flanks. And I think part of the reason is that it's naturally widened out. So when the water's come down the gully, it's been carrying the gold, when it's got to this area that's bigger and wider and flat, it's lost its grip on the gold because the water's spread out and lost its momentum.
Going up on the ranks and stuck in there.
It's stuck in there, but that's not to say, like lots of round bits of steel until you get on top of them, one blank, and lead and things like that. And there's plenty of kangaroos and plenty of blokes that go hunting in here.
Yep. Don't want to count our chickens before they hatch.
What's that, fella?
Don't want to count our chickens before
No,
they
that's
hatch.
for sure.
But it is in a very likely spot.
That's what we like about it, where it is. It's pretty well on the bedrock, see?
Yep.
See that? So they've washed right back to that, but they haven't been able to get all the clay out.
And it's growing.
So it's on. If you're rating it, it's a better than a 50-50. You know, it's a good spot to be. It's where we know from all the work. Oh well, I found gold up above us and I found gold below us, so I very cleverly, I was above Ant, and I walked around in a big half circle like a dog that you want to catch, and dropped in below him.
Didn't you? Oh, God.
So yeah, so I've outmanoeuvred him.
As per usual.
Well, Ant,
Could be out.
get the eyes out.
She's close. In the hand. Look out.
Oh yeah. There.
Oh. Sorry about me. I still haven't seen it. Oh,
There he is.
Nice. Very nice. That looks pretty chunky.
Does.
That looks very chunky. There we go. Got him. Nice work, Glenn. Good first bit for the day.
Nice little rough bit, isn't he?
Yeah.
Gonna put him in your hand, mate.
Yeah. Whew. Well, that gold gram in a bit.
You reckon? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely go gram, I reckon.
Yep.
Definitely go gram. He's got a little bit of fatness to him.
1.3, I reckon, even. Maybe. It's got a lot of fatness to it.
I called one 1.3, 2 or 3 tapes ago, and it turned out to be 0.6 or something. So, most when you first see it, you think, shit, that's a good bit.
Jesus.
But it's definitely, I reckon, it'd make
Well,
a gram in here.
made a nice sound when I dropped it. So you only reckon a gram, eh?
Well, I reckon around a gram.
Alright, I'm going 1.3.
Yeah. Right, mate. So that's
Good
the
work.
first bit for the day.
Nice
And-
one.
Where we are, they sunk on the reef above us, and they got roofy gold out of this gully. And roof, there's a gully that runs at right angles to this one as well, a big one that we're going to go in where the huts are. That they've put 2 big dams on. They worked a lot, and the gold in that is very roofy as well. But actually, where they worked the reef, they didn't do all that well. You know, you can tell by their workings that they brought up a bit of stone, but they haven't crushed any stone there. They've carted it away, and they haven't gone mad. So I'm not sure that the reef that they found was the primary source of this gold. But anyhow, there he is. First bit for the day.
Beautiful.
So,
Looks great in the sun too.
yeah,
Nice.
the cowbone was looting. We were going to have to come home and say, hey, guess what we found? A cowbone.
Nice little upgrade now.
But now it goes gold, then cowbone.
That's it. Good work, Glenn.
Good work, Ant. Thumbs up, mate.
Nice.
That's where the Jibbadali. Jibbadali!
Jibbadali.
Ant's had a find. He'll tell us all about it. Ant, show us and tell us, mate.
Yeah, well, I was just hovering around up the top of the gully over there, and sung out to Glenn. So I had a little bit of luck here. I think the actual target was a chunk of lead, but then I kept digging and out popped my first little pipe.
So there's a little pipe. Look at that. Pipe bowl.
Pipe bowl, yeah.
And really, you know, you can just imagine the miners bloody smoking their pipes and bloody working and then talking about the hard times they had. So that's a ripper. I'll put it in the floating hand. I'll get up right up close to me, mate. There he is.
Wrapped. First pipe bowl.
Turning around and let him see there's a little pattern up there.
Yeah, it's got a bit of a pattern here up the top.
But it's a poor man's bowl too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like it's just
It's not like that fancy one you
no,
found.
I mean, he's not a bloke that said, "I'll give me you a deluxe pipe." He's just wanted a pipe to smoke his tobacco.
Cheap as chips,
Yeah,
just get the
that's it.
tobacco into you.
Yeah,
But I'm wrapped.
that's a ripper.
Happy days.
Good work, Ant. So we had a bit of gold. That goes to second on the list. That puts the cowbone down to third.
The cowbone keeps going,
That's
getting
right,
lower.
Yeah. So good
Very
work,
good.
Ant.
Cheers, buddy. Happy with that?
Righto, I reckon we'll get a few relics today because there's a lot of huts in here where we are,
Yeah.
and we're going to target the huts later on.
Beautiful.
So we've come down this bloody monstrous big slope, and it's a very pretty area, but we're now going to drag our weary bones up. I'm overdressed.
Yeah, I got my jump off early.
This bloke's bloody.
It's hot. It's warm.
Someone said.
I mean, it's like
someone said
13 degrees today, but
sun's out, guns out. Well, look at that. Sun's out, pipe cleaner's out.
that's it.
Right,
Beautiful.
Let's go, mate.
Thanks, Glenn.
Well, our ant's got a signal here. We haven't filmed too much this morning. We've sort of detected a part. We haven't had a blue, but we haven't been we haven't been close. No, we've just wandered away.
He runs off at 100 miles an hour. I can't believe how quick this man is. Unbelievable. Look up, boom, gone.
Yeah, I had a dog like that.
He's got his gold nose on. He's
Yeah, just
sniffing it out.
yeah. Our ant's got a good signal here, all right? A signal here. It's not in the, and where it is, there it is with gold, but it's not in the best spot. But that's not to say it hasn't been thrown out of this gully beside us here.
This route, I think.
Yeah, I've got a bloody great spot here. I'm sitting up on a big log. We've got to walk back uphill. We've made our way downhill, right down to the bottom, practically to the creek. And the car's parked up the top. The bush is still pretty wet, so you've got to be careful how far you drive in. So we did a big loop around, come on a gravel road, and then drove in the bush. So this is an interesting signal all the same. There's nice size to it.
Yeah,
like if
definitely.
it is gold, poor old cowbone will bloody sink back to forth. It's definitely a nice size to it, and sound to it. Out, he's out. Nice to see a bit of yellow flash up, isn't it?
Oh, how good will that be? That'll make my day. Come on, where are you?
See anything?
Nothing yet.
In the
It's
hand.
in the hand.
Nothing.
You can't see anything.
There he is. I
Where?
think he's a pigeon ring or something, just between your two fingers on this side.
Oh, there.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's a bullet.
A bullet, is
Yeah,
it?
a bullet. That's why it's giving such a nice sound.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, there's folks.
There it is.
Piece of lead. That's why it gave such a good signal. But anyhow, could have been gold, wasn't gold. There he is, thumbs down, mate.
Next one.
When you do come out with us, if you enjoy the bush, you'll enjoy it out here because it's bloody great.
Beautiful, isn't
Now
it?
it's leading up towards Smoko. We're going to detect our way back up and try and get another signal before we get to the car. Good work, Ant. You found a signal?
Yep.
Good signal. Wasn't
Next one will be
mate.
gold.
Rightio, we've dropped into the big gully that we were talking about early in the morning, and this is where they built the dam. All that clay's been thrown up to build a dam across here with a big solid wall. So they've had the pipe here, and they've brought the water along here. And there's a few things of interest. One of the things is when the water's been running out, they've been bringing their wash up here and washing it right here. See all that? That's all been washed. It's been out. It's been a long time. Or that's a long sluice box, or even just a normal sluice box. All this is sluice stone. So when you've got a bit of time, you know, you can pull those heaps down, and if you're lucky enough, get a little specimen or get a bit of gold. So sluice stones all the way around along here. And it was all about water. Once the initial rush was over, so 1851 up to about 1855, was pretty well just go to the streams, sink on the flats and take it to the river, or take it to the creek. But when they got further into it and the water races started to be developed and they'd build dams of their own, all the gullies were worked with water. So the water's come along here, and they've dug their race straight down the centre of the gully, and you'll see how that gully drops down quick, and they've worked the edges in. Here's another big pile of sluice stones. Look how big that one is. That's probably, I'm probably standing 3 foot off the ground. But the interesting thing about this is, somewhere down there, they've wanted to work a flat that was higher than the bottom of the gully. So they've got the water up here, but by the time it gets down there and travels in the bottom of the gully, it's too high. So what they've done is, they've built a little wall there, and they've turned the water this way. So they've carefully dug a water race that goes all the way along the bank of the creek at the bank of the gully and only drops about, or probably like I always say, probably an inch every 10 foot. So they've put the race along there. So I would bet that when we get down there further, there'll be an area up above the gully that they've washed right out. Probably even the sides of the gully, because instead of bringing all the wash to the centre of the gully and washing it that way, they've brought the water on top of it and washed out the side of it. So they've had all this water, they've used it, and then when they got down there they thought, oh, the water's too low. So they've cleverly turned the water, and it's not like dragging the garden hose across the lawn.
Exactly.
When they turn the water, they're going to block that off.
A few weeks work there.
Race all the way down there on the edge of the gully. So they're digging it and throwing the dirt down. So as I often comment, they were great engineers, but they didn't shirk the work. They would take the work on.
Bloody hard workers, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
Unlike Ant and I, who were trying to get an easy bit.
Yeah, we're just after the easy stuff.
So we've just started, mate. But I
That's
just
it.
wanted to show you how they've turned
very
the
nice.
water to keep the water higher, because they need the force of the water to keep it higher than the wash.
Yep. Beautiful.
Right, mate.
Let's
I'll
get
plug a
into
bit off this heap.
it. Sounds good.
I've called Ant back up because I've got two signals. One I've been sitting off because I really rate it. And I've got another one here while I was waiting for Ant to come back up. It blanks out. I don't like this one very much, but I'll get him out. Just
Been
wanted to
surprised before.
Yeah, we have been surprised before, and it's on. See where they've been washing it right back to the mudstone, and but when we've have to be pretty optimistic to expect that to be anything, but it's right on the bloody stone all the same.
Yep.
Whether it is that red stone sitting up on its edge, whether it's even that.
No, we moved it.
I don't know whether it's a bloody stone signal or a
Signal.
I reckon it's that stone,
Red rock.
that sitting on its, like there's a band of it runs through there, sitting on its edge. So I don't think there's anything there, Ant. We'll go to this other one. I'm a bit more keen on the other one.
Yeah, the other one sounds good. Alright, we'll go check it out.
Remember when we were up there before and I was showing you where they turned the water out of the gully? Well, I worked on those heaps of stones for a while, and then I followed the race along, and this is the race here. This is a little race where they've turned the water out. And the reason they've brought it around here, they've brought it right up here, and it worked this area. And there's the gully way down there, that's where the water would have been. But they've protected their fall, so they've worked this flat here. Come in here, Hank, because I want to show you something when we get in here. So all these little drains, that's where they've used the water. They've kept the water above them. There's the race there because they've done this whole area. But when the water was way down that gully, it was no good to them. So they've come back out, and they've done all right here because they've washed it right back to the mudstone and siltstone in a big area. You can see here, it's quite obvious where they've worked and washed. Two little drains where they've worked and washed, where they've dug out the stone to create the drain. So down here is one I think they might have missed. I'm hoping it's one anyhow. I'm marking with the stone up there.
Much better signal, isn't it? Sounds good.
Sounds as though he's sort of low on that. Low, sounds as though he's about there. But he's a definite signal. This sort of red rock, this sort of hot rock, I've had trouble with a few bits up there, but that's definitely a signal.
Yep.
So, and this is the ground. This is why they went to so much trouble of bringing that water down. They were interested in washing this flat out. It was high above the gully, so as I said, they wanted to shift a heap of ground, and they wanted to, they need the water above the.
That's a good sign.
It was a good sign. It's in a good spot too. I'm bloody on good terms with myself. The only thing that'll bring me undone is if it's someone's had a shot at something. That's the only.
Yeah.
I reckon now it's lead or gold. I think that's the only two things that.
Yep. Jumped up nicely.
It has, yeah. I'll shift this out so that when it comes out. Yeah. See, what's happened is they've washed it from above washed it right back to the bedrock. And he's been travelling down here from his original spot that they've washed him from. And then, and then as he's come down this bank, he's dropped into a hole, the water's lost its grip on him, and that's where he stayed. Get him close now, because he must be close now.
Yep. Very close.
Yeah, so I reckon he's right in there, don't you?
Yep. Definitely.
Good thing about him now is with that ground clean below him, even though I do happen to flick him out, he won't go too far now.
Yeah. In the hand.
Here we go.
This is the exciting part.
Jeez, I just thought he wasn't going to be in there for a minute.
I think I can see it, Glenn.
Can you? Put your finger on him,
I
mate.
think it's that bit of gold.
Oh, is it gold?
Yeah, of course it is.
Oh, there he
Look
is.
at
There he is.
that. Nice.
Well spotted there. I was bloody starting to doubt myself. Thought I'd
No,
Done that old-
siree.
done that old magic trick that I do, and
Another nice reefy bit.
there he is.
Yep.
He's not quite as big as the other one, is he?
It's
No.
bloody close though.
Oh, I don't reckon.
No?
Yeah, got him
Oh,
here.
yeah, maybe a little bit smaller. He's definitely a little. He's lighter.
Yeah.
That one, I reckon, just under a gram. That one.
They're twins almost though, aren't they?
They are. Actually, I mean, now I look at both of them together, they both look pretty chunky.
Yeah, so, and if you happen to notice this stone up here, I marked my the ant was way down the gully below me. I marked it so I could come back to it. Not like saying, ant, come up here, I've got a signal, and then
Can't
getting around like I've parked my car in the MCG and I can't find it. So I'm sure it was over here somewhere. So
Very nice.
yeah, so that's two, Ant.
You gonna call it? How much you reckon that's?
Oh right, weight wise,
Yeah.
I reckon the first one we found, the brighter one, is a gram,
Mhm.
and I reckon the second one, his brother, is a fraction smaller than him. So I'm going to say 0.8 for the second one and a gram for the main one. And you, what do you reckon?
I'm sticking with my 1.3,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I think this one is going to be a little bit smaller.
Before I saw them together, I thought, oh, if they're twins, they're going to be like the twins Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger. But, yeah, they're
But
not.
they're actually.
There's not that much difference in
No,
them.
there isn't, is there?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Righto, Ant.
1.2 I'll go. 1.2, 1.3.
Thumbs up, mate.
Thumbs up.
Weighing is starting to look
job.
better already.
Yeah, I've got some catching up to do now.
Right, well, you lurk around here, and I'll get around that corner.
Sounds good, buddy.
We were just about to chuck it in and go to our next spot, and Ant's landed a signal here. It's in the same little flat area where they brought the water on high above the gully to wash. We've been starved of signals apart from a few hot rocks.
It's been tough, hasn't it?
So that's why we were going to move on and go to another spot. Anyhow, this one will decide our next half hour at least. If he turns into gold, we'll stay for a bit longer because he wasn't a hard signal to find, was he, Ant? He was like once you heard him.
Right over the top of him, and
Ironically,
it's quite loud.
where Ant's coil is sitting there, that's where he dug out that big red rock. He's walked this way 20 minutes ago. And because we were staying on the flat all the time, he's come back the other way, sigged right instead of sigging left, and got a signal. So that's the way of it. And a bloke said to me during the week, Graham, if you get 50, there's 50 more there. And I think I'm inclined to agree with that. I've got gold out of here before. We've got gold this afternoon, one little bit up above us. So sometimes you just got to keep going over and over it. You've got to go slow and concentrate. I can't overemphasise how slow you've got to go nowadays. The easy signals are gone unless you're in a virgin spot, so you've got to go really slow and keep your brain switched on and just look for those little signals that can turn into something. Because it's surprisingly how quickly a little signal, when you take half an inch off, it suddenly seems like a big boomer. It's nice if this turns into something.
Let's see. Taking a bit off now.
Moved out, has he?
I think so.
Disappeared, has he?
Yep.
Oh no, you've gone down the side of him, I reckon. What about, at lunchtime we were watching a bit of ants filming while I was digging one, and I'm not a man to point fingers.
I know where you're going with this, Ben.
He seemed to keep the camera in the one spot for an awful long time and not mix it up, you know. I try and engage the viewers for that. So all you blokes are out there saying...
Concentrate on the gold.
saying Ant's the champion bloody bloke at photography. I want you to look out for that. Well, I'm not saying it's not. It's not rubbish. It's either lead or gold. Well, this is shit. Yeah, I know, mate. Yeah, talking about the pot calling the kettle black. Well, the pot calling the kettle an item of colour.
Oh.
Through the camera, everything looks to be popping up yellow through the screen.
Yeah.
He's in there somewhere, and he's not huge, which is a good thing. And he wasn't in the worst spot I've ever seen either.
Well, it's in the hand
Now,
now.
the moment of truth. Get a bit closer again. This is the part that we enjoy. This you got to save your signals because they're so hard to just get a signal now. You know.
Yeah.
Signals are. See anything, mate?
Not yet.
I suppose that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm not sure either.
This is what I was worried about.
Yeah. Look a bit ugly, does he?
I think so. I think it's a bullet.
I'll be buggered.
Bit of lead. Yep. There she is.
Oh well, that's why it sounds so good.
Yep.
But it just goes to
Gotta
show.
dig him.
Yeah,
Another
below the gold bearing area. Righto, folks. There's our man. We're going to shift now. We're going to have another go at another spot.
That's it.
Righto, see you later. Ant and I have moved down the bottom of the gully where the miners lived, and they had a few huts down here. Ant's just got us. We've just walked in, and Ant's got a signal here that sounds as though it might be non-ferrous. A big signal, but that could be a dozen things. You know, a big dog buckle or even a big penny or something like that. So
Hopefully, anyway.
give us a listen to it, Ant. See that's definitely brass or copper or lead. So already it's a possibility a nice artifact of some sort. When they had the huts, you couldn't have your hut 20 foot closer to anyone else's hut, and you couldn't have your hut within 20 feet of the stream or of the creek. So there's an area up above us here. It's littered with huts. I haven't taken Andy in there to detect, but it had a name. I won't say its name, but it was a little. They called it a town, even though it was just a cluster of miners' huts. But I've done quite well over there detecting for artefacts and relics. This one, I don't think it's a bullet shell because it's in a bit deep.
Yeah, it's pretty deep.
Yeah. Out of the hole. It's not sitting up either. Like if it was sitting up a big horseshoe or something like that, you pretty well, those big ugly signals, you pretty well see them straight away.
Yeah.
When they're buried in the dirt like that, you're a much better chance. This black soil, when I used to go detecting for coins, you love this black soil because the discriminant wasn't troubled by it. You could get a lot more depth in the black soil than you could in the red soil in the volcanic soil. Here we are, here we go.
Ooh.
Mike, can you see something, mate?
No, sorry, I thought it was...
Seen the edge of something, did you?
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I'm doing a bit of a drum roll on the head, but I'm wanting an edge to turn up by now. It's getting a bit small. What is it, just a bloody
bullet?
Oh. Oh well.
Another one.
It wasn't too deep. Oh, an actual bullet, is it? Like not
Yeah.
the casing or a casing?
No.
A shell though, is it? Not the lead? Yeah, shell. There it is, folks.
Another one.
Never mind.
Another
300 years, that'll be a relic.
That's it.
There he goes. Righto, we're in the area where the huts were, and that's blanking out continuously. There's so many signals.
Signals everywhere.
So our man was eating cow bones again, and he was also having a few sly shanties after dark. That's a black glass beer. But I've got a signal here. Settle down, boys. That sounds like it might be something. I've got to try and get him out without moving him too far because all around
Too
him,
many signals.
all around him is
Gloves, Glenn.
yeah, bloody steel and that. There's plenty of glass here. We've deliberately come in here with the idea of trying to add a relic to it. I ain't got one good relic already with that pipe.
Yeah, very happy with that. If we can go a few more, that'd be great.
Someone would say my 2 cow bones would match your pipe. No,
well, maybe someone.
there's one local man.
One bloke will, maybe.
Yeah, that's right.
Not many.
But yeah, you know, when you think about them working on that, without being too graphic, you know, they had to go to the toilet, they had to wash, eat, bloody find their food, what have you. So,
True. They didn't have
You
a
just-
local Safeway down the street.
no, you just think of them. You just think of them, you know, mining or digging for gold. Look at the black glass through this
Yeah.
ground. But you don't think of all the mundane day-to-day chores that they would have to do on top of,
Digging.
you know, things like getting wood and
Yep. Yeah.
that's why they used to work. Settle down, settle down. That's why they used to work in parties of 4, you know. There'd be 2 or 3 blokes would be working the claim, but one bloke would be back at the hut, bloody getting the getting the tucker ready and all that sort of thing. Starting to plank out a little bit too much on my log. Didn't really think it was that, but I'm gonna just have a look, see what else is here. No, that's where it is. This is a better signal. There he is.
An old utensil.
Yeah, it's a bit of copper, a strip of copper. But that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that to turn into a penny or something like that among all the other signals, all the other things that are here. If I can only get 2 more cow bones for the day. Right, Ant, back on your head.
That's it. Let's get into it.
Oh, I suppose technically that's a thumb down. I don't know if it's a thumbs up or thumbs down. But we're right in the middle of where they lived and breathed.
That's it.
Ant and I are camped in here at the moment. We're right below where the huts were. And we've decided we'll dig 10 signals each. Ant's got a decent signal here, so dig him up, mate, and see what
we got.
Ant was just saying that you're keen to get them out, but you don't want to, if we are lucky enough to turn it into something of value, you don't want to put a big scrape across it with the pick, so you've got to sort of dig underneath them as much as you can.
That's right.
With these coils, we can tell that mostly if they're ferrous or non-ferrous, just by the overload. So this one, it clearly is. It's staying fixed in it. Because our history is so short, goldfield relics and just before that the settlers are pretty well all we've got. So it's not like when you're in Europe and you've got bloody thousands of years of European occupation or English occupation. You know, we've only got whatever the people that came after First Nation. So it's pretty short when we're looking for relics. Things we get excited by, like that pipe bowl that Ant found. You know, we're aware that in England and places like that, they can find them every day of the week practically. But we still enjoy them. Ant's negotiated a deal with his wife to have a display cabinet in his house.
Yeah, finally.
He's had to make a few concessions.
That's right. It'll be worth it.
He's got the deal over the line, so you know, he's collected a few things while he's been going. So he's told the boss, I mean Dearest, that that he'll have the cabinet. Still in there, mate, or out?
I think it might be out, but
yeah, the signal seemed to have dropped away, didn't it?
yeah.
It's gone somewhere.
Must be pretty small then.
Yeah, it was booming there before, but that's what they do with these external speakers. So,
Pushed it out.
it's gone to the side. Oh yeah.
It's out of here.
Oh, that's good. Perfect.
Oh,
No good,
shotgun
mate?
shell.
Oh, I thought it was going to be a coin.
so did I when I opened it up and I saw the circle. And then,
No. But that's the sound of a coin as well. Like it's copper, it's round.
Yep.
Righto, mate.
Hopefully we'll turn up a coin today.
Ant and I have been filming each other digging what should be relics, and they turn out to be anything but relics. So they're obviously relics, but stuff of no importance or no value. This one is something like it's non-ferrous and it's worth digging. So as Dan said before, you can always edit out all our misses.
Can you see? Coin!
Oh, finally a coin.
Yay! Nice one!
Hold on, hold on.
Got a hole in the middle?
I think it's Chinese coin.
Chinese coin. Get a bit closer.
Very worse for wear for being in the ground, but
Yep, definitely Chinese.
yeah, so that's our first coin. It was interesting because when I came down, just behind us here is where you can see a big patch where the Chinese have worked the creek. They like to find alluvial gold, or they're forced on to find alluvial gold, whether they like it or not. And they've taken a big section out here. I'll show you in a second. But there's our
Nice.
Chinese coin. You can still see the symbols on it. I don't know. I suppose it's made out of brass or copper, but
Yeah.
it's almost like it's bloody steel. But anyhow, Chinese coin. No, it's not steel.
Steel?
And sorry, mate.
Sure.
I also eyeballed this just up above us. I'm not quite sure whether that's for eating your noodles with or
Yeah,
whatever.
looks like
I know
Some type of symbol on the back.
something there, but that as well. So whether
Yeah.
they're the same nationality or whether that's something totally different, I don't know.
But got a few nice relics there.
Got a relic. We've got to get out of here in a minute because if we're going to get another bit of gold before we knock off, we can't keep digging relics. But
Good work, Glenn.
thanks, Ant.
On ya.
Good on you, mate.
Good job.
I'm standing right in the middle of a big area that's been worked, and I think it was worked by the Chinese. See, from that bank there to that bank over
Looking
there,
like right over there.
all the ground's been taken out,
It's a huge big
and
bank
washed.
over there.
And what it actually is, it runs parallel with the creek. And it's no coincidence it runs parallel with the creek because this bottom of the gully, when a log falls across the creek or something, it builds up with leaves, it turns the water, and what was the creek over there suddenly becomes the creek over here. And when, in the millions of years when it's been developing, the creek gets turned by upheavals and that. And I think that's the reason there's so many signals up there where we are. As I said before, the Chinese, they didn't like being in small groups. You know, in lots of occasions they were attacked by the Europeans and driven out, you know, by the people that other nations. So they like to stay in a mob for safety in numbers. So there may have been a big Chinese camp there. This area that we're in had 2 joss houses, not this particular area, but the town that we're near had 2 joss houses, you know, where they smoked incense and,
Ah,
you
yeah,
know, and
yeah.
religion and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
One step
Opium.
up from opium dens, they actually
Yeah.
are. So yeah, I think this area is worked by the Chinese. I think where we're digging those artefacts were possibly
Yep.
from
Definitely.
a Chinese camp. And
Especially
that's the
after seeing
reason
that
there's so
spoon in
many
the coin.
pieces of metal and so many things.
Yep.
It hasn't been 2 miners camped up there or 4 miners camped up there.
Yeah.
It's been a party of 20 or 25 or 30 because what they used to do, they'd have one bloke running the show and he was the boss and they all worked for him. He collected the gold and he decided who got the gold and how much went back to China, etc. So, and even when they cracked down on sending the gold back to China, what they used to do is, if one of their countrymen was unlucky enough to die, they'd put the gold in the coffin and they'd send it back, say, oh, we send this back to his own country.
Jeez.
And of course, no one was going to open the coffin. You say, oh, he died. The Chinese say he died of this or he died of that. He died, might have been the plague, who knows. Of course, no one would touch the coffin, and the gold was in the coffin with the body. So anyhow, may not be the Chinese, the camp, but this big, wide, broad area, I'd say was almost definitely worked by the Chinese. Righto, Ant.
Cheers, Glenn.
Let's get into it, mate. We're going to
do
get
it.
a bit of gold for ourselves.
Yep.
I came up further up the gully and I found a chimney here. So Ant was below me digging a signal and I called out to him and said, come up here, mate, I want you to film the chimney. I found 2 things of interest. When I come up, he said, I hope one of them's not that brick. And it is a brick.
Of course it's the brick.
And I picked the brick up here. It was just sitting there like that. And I picked it up because it intrigued me why they've carried a brick out here to have in their chimney when, you know, you're surrounded by stone. But the interesting thing about the brick is it's got a thumbprint on it. And they used to, I'm away from the car and I haven't had a chance to Google it, but I know I've read about it before, that when they were making handmade bricks, and it's a handmade brick, there's no frog in it, there's no hole in it, so that dates it to a certain age. The frog's that hole that holds the mortar and helps to join them together. So this is a handmade brick. When they'd made 100 bricks or 1,000 bricks or whatever it happened to be, I think it was 100, the bloke that was making the bricks, which was often the convicts, he put his thumb in it like that while it was still soft, so that he knew he'd made 100 bricks. And when he was counting up at the end of the day, every thumbprint was 100 bricks. So there's a brick with a thumbprint in it. Now, if anyone that's watching this, you hop on the internet and Google that, and it'll explain it much more succinctly than I have. But I do know that I've read that about the thumbprint in the bricks. So,
there you go.
Ant said, I hope it's not that brick.
Well, no, I'm glad it is.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So,
thumbprint in the brick.
thumbprint in the brick.
Every 100 bricks.
Oh, I don't know, it's 100. I think it was 100.
100 or 1,000,
Yeah,
but it was a
but
counter.
It was a counter, yeah, it was a counter.
Wow.
And they're often made by the convicts as well. So,
there you go, convict brick.
yeah. So I'm not saying that is, I'm not saying that isn't, but that's exactly what that is, yeah.
yeah.
Now, the second thing I found is even more obscure, but I think it is what it is. It's a piece of wood, and it's been shaped and put an edge on it like that. It's been held like that, and I think it's been made by a sailor. I think it's been people that have been used to using canvas and things like that. It's been shaped and sharpened, and I'd say that when we're
Make holes in
to make holes in things, to make holes in your canvas when you were sailing, and make holes in your canvas when you put your chimney here, and you're fixing your canvas over and tying it down.
Yep, okay.
We're close to a creek called Sailors Creek. Sailors Creek goes for a long way. And the reason they call it Sailors Creek, sailors jumped ship and came and worked the creek looking for gold. And I reckon that's an artefact from the sailors that came here.
Wow.
So I may be stretching my imagination, but that's been hand-shaped. That's not a bit that's been just fallen off a tree. It's sharpened on the end. It's got a nice little, sits comfortably in your hand like that.
It does, doesn't it?
So, two things that look as though they're pretty mundane and have got a lot of history to them. Brick with a thumbprint.
As one of our rightful subscribers said, we've got the David Attenborough here of metal detecting.
That's right. Well, they're interesting to me. And,
No, they're
and
very
I notice
interesting.
I notice
glad
in our
you-
comments people say
I'm glad you
they
said it,
like
man.
that we don't just go out and like all the other dig videos and say, we dug a bit of gold, we dug a bit of gold, you know. So there's two
No, it's
artefacts.
very interesting. I'm glad you pointed it out.
Neither of them found with a metal detector, both eyeballed. But that's the sort of stuff that's still out here.
Yeah, awesome.
And so no one gets upset, it'll be still out there after we leave, because I'm going to leave them there. So, 2 thumbs up, Ant. I'm going to leave them here. That's not to say Ant's not going to sneak around behind me.
I look good in my cabinet.
Righto, folks. Thumbs
work,
up.
Glenn.
Go on,
Cheers,
you,
mate.
Ant. Righto, end of the day. We've got a fair bit to talk about and a fair bit to show. Before we start, circumstances a couple of weeks ago, I know it was inevitable, but when it looked as though we had a new king, you know, I must admit that I knew it was coming.
I got a lucky day.
I shed a silent tear, but this has nothing to do with the Queen dying. This is about when we went out a month ago.
And I finally got a bit.
And Anthony got the bit of me. Anthony got a gold. I got no gold. So
Which is a record in itself.
yeah, so we've got the
Glenn's redeemed
been a
himself
tussle with the
today.
crown. I've redeemed myself.
Yep.
Now I'll start with Ant's shittiest bit first because it's hideous and I want to get rid of it. Ant found this when he was out in the bush.
Yeah.
It's a bit of chrome and plastic. It says Cruiser. So think what you want to. He's actually got stuff from different centuries and different time periods. Pigeon ring that obviously some poor old pigeon's been eaten by an eagle or a hawk, and that's the ring. Shotgun shells.
2019.
This we suspect one of the areas we're in was a depression diggings. This is a Marmite jar. We googled that. That fits in nicely. About 1932 for that particular jar. The depression they were started in 1929 in America. A little bit fraction later in Australia. Quickly spread to Australia, and then Blokes were back out the bush looking for gold in the Depression, working old areas. This was a jewel in his crown.
Up with that.
His pipe bowl.
Pipe bowl. Very happy with that.
A bit of stoneware, obviously from the same period as that. I believe that this has been made, handmade. I don't think it's bone. It should be bone, but I don't know whether it's bone or wood. But I still believe that it's been handmade and made like a sailor would have, you know, for making holes in canvas and putting a hole through to draw a stitch through. So that's called an awl, A-W-L. Brick, I tried to Google it. It mentions thumbprint bricks in the bricks, but I couldn't get enough information to talk about it now, except that's generally marks 100, the thumbprint. So when they're soft, you put your thumbprint in every 100. Now, the goods. Chinese coin. It's needs a desperate clean because even though it's marked, you still can't see. You can't even see that it's brass or copper, but it obviously is. Then in the same area, I found part of a Chinese coin. I think that one is just broken because they've got the hole in the centre and they're a bit fragile and break. But it's not uncommon to find English coins that have been deliberately cut. So you'll find a sixpence has been cut in half, and they've used him. They've been short of currency and they've used him as 2 threepences, 2 threepences. So we found quite a lot today. I've probably got a few more things in my pocket.
An array of finds, yeah.
Haven't. Oh, that thing.
Spoon.
We think is some sort of Chinese eating implement or whatever. That was where the Chinese coins were.
Glenn also found this. We got excited. Thought it was a coin.
Yeah, we dug that at one of the huts, and I thought it was a coin. We don't know what it is. So when it bobbed up out of the ground, I thought, oh, that's all right. So the best part of the day, switch that on with Ant.
Yep. Right to go, Glenn.
Righto. So this was our first one, because I can tell because it's bright. This one's shrunk, this one's grown in the thing. So we'll weigh this one first because that's the order we got them in.
1.15.
Well, that's a good result. I was hoping for a gram and you called it over a gram.
Yeah, a bit lower than I thought it was 1.3.
And this is our second one.
1.2. 1.15
Oh,
as well.
you're kidding me.
Look at that.
Well, that should make it
2.3.
2.3.
Oh, jeez, the scales are all right.
Yeah. It's gone to 2.33
2.33
now, but that's just because it's moved down the hill a little bit.
Yep.
So they were twins. When we were joking about them being twins, they were twins there.
They were. Ah.
So this is our day. Cruiser. If Ant wants to go cruising, he'll wear that around his neck. Marmite jar, various bits and bobs. The pipe for the new cabinet that we've got. It's only gone before the planning commission, hasn't it? We've got approval,
Yep.
but what I believe is an awl, AWL, a sailor's awl, and we found it by Sailor's Creek. The Chinese artefacts, I think that ties in with that. Yeah. We found together. The gold we found in 2 different gullies, but one was at a right angle to the other. That was at a hut.
What a ripper day, Glenn.
So
Can't believe it. It's an array of finds, isn't
interesting day,
Yeah.
and the bricks. So
Yeah.
everyone that's interested, Google thumbprints in handmade bricks.
Yeah,
and we know it's a handmade brick. You know, they no frog, which dates it to a certain age.
Did Glenn get it right?
And did I get it right?
And what do you think about this as well?
Yeah, and what do you think about the sailor's awl?
Yeah.
Right, mate. King is dead. Long live the king.
Long live the king.
Bloody, I should nearly make coronation medals. Send them out. Don't worry about Prince Charles. Let's talk about, you know, when you're 100 you get a telegram from the Queen, and when you're 16 you get a text from Prince Andrew. So anyhow, the king is back.
That's it. Well done.
Righto,
well
good on
done.
you, Ant. Good day, mate.
Cheers,
See
mate.
ya.
Thanks. See you next time.
does it feel so cold inside my heart tonight? Be my man is what she